Stay tuned. Your program will begin shortly.
Stay tuned. Your program will begin shortly. Stay tuned. Your program will begin shortly. Stay tuned. Your program will begin shortly.
Stay tuned. Your program will begin shortly.
Stay tuned. Your program will begin shortly.
Welcome to High Valley Sports Online, Week 7 of Ohio football. Here from Bennigan, this is the High Valley Sports Online Coaches Show. First up, Coach Reno Saccoccia from Steubenville Big Red, sponsored by Fort Steuben Maintenance, followed by Andrew Connor of Indian Creek, Josh Frankie from Toronto, Eric Meek from Catholic Central, and Mike Collopy from Edison. Coach, Week 7, fastest 10 weeks in history. This is Ohio football. 5-1, you win 5 in a row. Big win over Wheeling Park.
Every win's a big win.
Xavier Folks, another 4 TDs. That tells me the offensive line's getting movement on the ball, blocking people. Aiden Manning continues to improve with 2 TD passes, and your defense gets just enough stops against a Wheeling Park offense to get a win.
Well, it was a really, really good win. I mean, it was a good win, a win that we needed. Anytime you play, one of your neighbors, you want to try to come up with your best game. And I felt that we played a really, really good game. When you have a team like Wheeling Park with the back that they have, I mean, they have Boogie Johnson's son. I mean, Boogie might be third on the list down there now with the Johnsons. I think his sons both passed him up, but maybe not for blocking, but for running. And then you have a quarterback like Aiden Davis, a decent offensive line that protects him. And when he's not protected, he does a good job getting rid of the ball, and they have a really good defense that plays tough defense. So the win was well earned, and we're really, winning's hard, and I don't care who you beat, it's hard, and we're just we were really happy with the win.
Yeah, Coach, that was, that was a point I was going to bring up. I think a lot of time people, get caught up and they look at, total yardage. Wheeling Park had, 500 total yards or what was. There's 1,000 yards combined in that game. But, as you pointed out there, they have a great back in Johnson. Davis, I think, hit 7 different receivers. So I don't care what level of football you're playing.
But you know what the key was, Steve? And you know this. We got key stops and key first downs when we needed them.
Right. And that was the point I was going to bring
up. They were 0-4 on fourth downs.
Right.
And when we needed a big play, we got it on both sides of the ball. That was the difference in the game. Their team was explosive and very good defensively. But, offensively, we did what we had to do. And like I said, we got big plays from both sides of the ball. When it came down to nitty-gritty, we made the play.
Right. Right, and all things being even, you matched that production pretty much. You know what I mean? So I think you have to throw that out the window kind of, so to speak, And like I said, any level of football that you play, when you're playing an offense that mixes things up and gets it to that many different people, there's nobody that's going to stop an offense like that. I don't care what defense you have. But as you said, big games defensively for you from Callie Hopkins, Javen Harper, and Peyton Gorby. They had the big sacks for a combined loss of 26 yards. That really, really was huge for you.
And the half ended on a fourth down play that we knocked them out of bounds 2 yards short, and then we started the second half with a touchdown. So that's key. To get a stop with 25 seconds to go on the 12-yard line, and then to come out and start the second half with a 65-yard drive to score. I mean, I can't say anything except that both teams played well. We just made key plays at key times.
Right.
Well, big plays determine the game, Coach. Just statistically and confidence-wise, I've been impressed with Aiden Manning, who's just getting better and better every single week, and really happy with the way he's played.
Yeah, he's worked hard. I mean, he's there on Sundays with Coach, going over his game plan for the week, and he's he's done just a steady job with a lot of help from his teammates. And we've only been sacked 3 times. I think we only got sacked 5 times last year. We only got sacked 3 times this year. And we have a really good running game with some good backs. And we're protecting him. We're catching the football. And you need all that to have an offense. You can have the greatest quarterback in the world. If you got me at receiver, you're in trouble. You can have the greatest receivers in the world. If you got you at quarterback, we're in trouble. So I mean, it's just everything has to come together, and hopefully we just keep on improving because as you go down the street, teams get tougher and tougher, and we have a tough one coming up this week. Well-respected team, and we just have to have a great week of practice and a great Friday night.
Coach, that's a heck of a statement and a heck of a stat that you just gave, that after 6 weeks, your quarterback's been sacked 3 times. That's very impressive on the fact of the play of your offensive line. Those guys don't get recognized too much, but they're playing good football for you.
And with play-action pass, your backs have to block too. Like when we run our power pass, that tailback's is responsible for that end, and that end's coming, full tilt ahead, and that tailback's usually kind of half gear, but it's just important, and our line does a good job, and I just don't want to jinx us, but right now the protection's been good, and like I said, as long as Aiden keeps improving, when you're a first-year quarterback.
Which means a lot.
That does. That means a lot. It's your first time under pressure. You're a big red quarterback with playing the teams that we play, and they're coming after you. It's not like it's a 7-on-7 in the summertime. I mean, they're coming after you, and they want to kill you. And he just got to keep improving, and he's a tough kid.
And very, very efficient again. Talking about Ray mentioned he had the 2 touchdowns and 241, but he was 15 of 20 also. Very, very efficient in the throws that he's making smart choices, getting the ball into the hands of the receivers. Isaac Hill had a big night, 6 catches for 135 yards, and I know on several of those. It was just a matter of, hey, get the ball out to him in space and then let him do the work from there.
Yeah, once a quarterback understands to take what they give you, and and not always passes are perfect. We had some receivers make some good catches too, but that's all part of it. Like I tell our receivers, the great receivers catch the body outside your framework. It's a lot easier catching, a perfect pass in your framework where you want it between your head and your waist. But when you have the ball to the right or to the left, down low or up high, and you go after it, I mean, that's a sign of a good receiver. That's a receiver making a quarterback look good. And like I said, all his passes aren't perfect, but they're catchable. And our receivers have done a good job catching the ball.
Coach, you've had your way with Wheeling Park. Do you think your kids go in playing that game with a little more confidence than other games? I mean, you beat them 17 out of 18 times.
Our kids, no. Confident. I mean, I hope we go in every game with confidence, but that's just Wheeling Park is just a game where their players are ready and our players are ready in any sport. I don't care if it's baseball, basketball, whatever. Wheeling Park and Steubenville match up good now. We haven't been as competitive as we'd like to have been in basketball lately, but there's been a time where we were even with them for a while, and I'm sure that if we play them again this year in basketball, that we'll be competitive as hell in basketball. But it's just a sport where soccer, baseball, basketball, football. I mean, kids are coming. Both teams are coming to win the game.
Well, I think that's a credit. I mean, I know the struggles that you go through in scheduling local teams like that, and that's why I hold Wheeling Park and Lindsley in such high regard because, even Dover now and New Philly because, year after year, they're continuing to play us, and that says something about them, their administration, and their coaching staff.
Well, they're just, I leave Dover out of it because Dover, we've been playing them for a while, and Wheeling Park we played a lot when Coach Nardoni, God rest his soul, was a coach, and now Doc's just picked up, and I think we have a pretty good relationship with them. And like I said, there's certain games that should be played in the Valley every year, no matter what. And I think that playing Wheeling Park, playing Lindsley, playing Dover, playing Mooney, playing Urson makes us a better football team when the time to step up comes, and that's going to be in the near future here, where you're going to have to step up every week, and hopefully these games have prepared us for that.
Coach, I mean, really up to this point, I mean, we're going into week 7. Your first 6 games have been just
good games.
I mean, good games and physical games on both sides of the ball. And as you said, I think it's preparing you as you move forward. But, how's the team health-wise? When you're playing week in and week out,
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Physical of a schedule.
But you know what? This is the first game coming up that we'll have everybody ready. And I don't know if that's good. I don't know if it's bad. But I know that the kids we've been playing have been doing a great job. But who in the heck would think that you're going into this is our 7th game, I think.
Yeah.
Going into your 7th game healthy. And
okay, let's change the subject.
Yeah.
All right?
yeah.
All right, let's get off that. Coach, let's talk about your defense. Your defense has been, they got enough stops to win the game.
Everybody talks about our defense. Pass defense mainly, and offense. I'm the first one to admit, I've never said this publicly, but I'm the first one to admit our defense is not conducive for the regular season. But when you look into the playoffs, you tell me how many 5-wide teams have ever gone anywhere in the playoffs. Name one 5-wide team that's ever won a state championship. And I'll name 2 of them. Kenton, both years, with a quarterback that rushed for 2,800 yards, was the tailback playing quarterback, the 2 Mock brothers. And I can't name anybody else. When you get to the playoffs, after the first couple rounds, you better get ready to stop the run. You better be ready to stop the run first, and then you better be ready to stop some speed. And that's what our defense is. Our defense is made to stop the run and hopefully tackle the pass, not give up too many touchdowns.
Get them on the ground,
but get it right. And we know that going in. But our defense is structured for what it needed to be structured for. And I'll put our philosophy up against anybody. We're probably one of the top 5 or 10 teams in the state win-wise in the playoffs. And that's what our defense and our offense is made to do. Now, is that an excuse? No. I've never said that before. But our kids know to play. We got to stop the run and tackle the pass. We talk about that every day. Stop the run and tackle the pass. And it's a lot harder to tackle the pass now than it was 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
Because now we're playing on an airport runway. We're not playing in a phone booth anymore. Every pass that they're completing is out in space. And when you have a kid like DiLorenzo they had last year, he's a tough kid to stop in space. When you have a kid like Parkat, tough kid to stop in space. What about the kid from Obama? I mean, he was 120 pounds, but he's tough to stop in space.
Well, I'm sorry, but that was the point that I was trying to make. I mean, these defensive backs, being an average defensive back myself, I mean, those kids in Big Red secondary have been challenged since scrimmages.
And they'll be challenged just right.
I mean, just the scrimmages, defending the pass. So I'm saying I see Big Red's defensive back. They're not making every play, but they are in position to make every play. And then the key is get them on the ground, once they make it.
The word we use now with our linebackers and our secondary is capture. We want to capture them. We don't want to rip their heads off. We want to get our arms around them, capture them, let the rest of the guys come in and clean it up. But as a one-on-one in open field, you got to set your feet, stay square, and capture the guy with the ball. And but nobody does it better. I mean, Lindsley does it good. Their quarterback he's the best quarterback we'll face, and we face some good ones. And Ursuline, we faced a good one in New Philly, but he was more of a running type of quarterback. And then look at Mooney's quarterback, look at Obama's quarterback, and then look at Wheeling Park's quarterback. We faced good quarterbacks.
Yep.
But this one is the best we faced so far.
All right, we're going to talk about Lindsley when we come back here. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with Coach Reno Saccoccia, Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show, live from Bennigan's.
Thanks, Fort Steuben Maintenance, for sponsoring Big Red Head football coach Reno Saccoccia on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show. You know, Fort Steuben Maintenance should be your first choice when it comes to any and all construction projects, whether it's commercial or residential. Make Fort Steuben Maintenance your first call. You can rely on them to be the experts when it comes to roofing, concrete, plumbing, carpentry, just about any job that needs done. Fort Steuben Maintenance, they're fully licensed and bonded and will even give you a free estimate. Fort Steuben Maintenance. You want the number? 740-283-4890.
You're listening to Ohio Valley Sports Online, the Sports Authority, bringing you the best in local sports, high school as well as college. Subscribe to us on our YouTube page. Check us out on Facebook as well. All right, we're back here at Bennigan's, Ohio Valley Sports Online, our second segment with Coach Reno Saccoccia. Steubenville Big Red, sponsored by Fort Steuben Maintenance. Coach, this week you got Lindsley. We just talked about them. They're also 5-1, I believe.
I think they're 4-1. I think they're a week behind.
3-1.
3-1. Stevie knows.
Yeah, they beat.
Stevie hangs out down there now he's coaching at Bethany.
So yeah, the game's being played at West Liberty. Their wins have come over Richmond Heights 42-0, Holy Name 42-21. Fort Fry a week ago, 41-0. Their lone loss was to DeSales, 30-17. Coach, their rushing attacks led by Alex Taylor and Atlee Cohen, who's also their quarterback. Their leading receivers are Malte Field and Romello Durr, who have similar numbers. Defensively, they've given up an average of 9.5 points per game and have 2 shutouts. And I know we talked prior to going on the air, and this was a point I was going to bring up. I know Coach Depew talked real highly of his team in the trenches on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. But they only gave up 50 yards rushing to DeSales, a very good DeSales team.
Well, that score was really misleading because DeSales won 30-16, but they recovered a fumble on the Lindsley one and had a 1-yard drive, and they had a pick 6. So other than that game was even Steven, and you know, DeSales is a good physical football team year in and year out, and they're just, you know, and Lindsley's, I don't know where it comes off that, you know, Lindsley's a good football team, well coached, good football players, tough football players, and you know, there's a lot of misconceptions going around about Lindsley. They do it the fair way, they do it the right way, and we have a lot of respect for what they do.
Right, and that defense held Fort Fry a week ago to only 61 total yards. Yeah, and Fort Fry, you know, I know they lost some to graduation this past year, but still they're a very good program, and I know Coach Houck down there does an excellent job with them, or Coach Houck, does an excellent job with them. A tough offense in their own right to defend, and they held them to 61 yards.
Total.
Yeah.
And, you know, 53 is a dog, man. He's a good football player. 52, the linebacker's tough. 24 and 10, I mean, they're good, solid players, but the best player on that team is 27. I mean, he goes full-time safety, full-time tailback, and although I didn't see him in the last game, I don't know if he's hurt or what it is, but he's a good football player. We really respect the heck out of him. But like I said, I mean, he's a two-way player and doesn't come off the field. But and their quarterback can play quarterback for anybody. He's just a good, tough, solid football player.
Right.
Hey,
how you doing?
What's up, Bubba?
Right.
Big Dave Working coming in from the Crusaders, former point guard. Mother's a beautiful person.
Ray, you got any questions on Lindsley? Or
no, Coach. I'm just impressed with the fact of how Lindsley does things. I mean, they've upgraded. I don't know how many years it's been, but they've upgraded it seems like their talent. You know, in the past 10 years, I mean, they are a talented football team.
When you're at a school like Lindsley, let's be honest. If you're at a school like Lindsley, if you're a lazy coach, you're going to have a weak team. If you're a coach that gets after it, you're going to get – I mean, their job is to go get players, get students first, hope they're players, and get them and bring them on campus. I mean, that's what Lindsley does. But they don't cheat at it. I mean, they do a good job at what they do. And if you want to play them, you play them. If you don't want to play them, you don't want to play them. But no excuse. Just get out there, play, and play hard. I mean, we had a good game with them last year. We had a good game with them the year before that, and it's a good football game for the Valley. And we're just glad to be going over there. I've never been to West Liberty Stadium before.
I think that's exciting.
I can't tell you about that, but this is the second college stadium we've played in this year, and our kids will enjoy it. And it's not like we're going to Podunk to play. We're going to West Liberty University. We're going to play a good football team, and hopefully we can hold up our end of the bargain.
I will say this, Coach. It's going to be a little tight on your sideline over there. I know that on your sideline, on the visitor sideline.
I never saw the sideline. Where is it?
It's
any tighter than in Harding?
Oh, it's tight over there. Yeah, there's no stands behind it though. The stands are only on the one side. It's kind of built into the hillside over there. It's beautiful. It really is a beautiful stand. But you won't have anybody behind you. But a fence about 3 feet behind where you stand.
Just so I don't want to go kill myself.
No.
No, I believe Lindsley.
Depew does a good job.
Yeah, he does. I mean,
he's a good dude.
Their goal is. I was very impressed talking to him on the phone today. But their job, I know just from talking to Wojcik down there in basketball, their whole thing is to win the OVAC, and you can't help what your restrictions are. I mean, That's what you buy in on at Lindsley. You know what you got to do. I just think over the years, I personally think that their talent in the last 5 to 10 years has been outstanding. I mean, the kids that they bring in to play. And they ain't got to answer no questions about playoffs or nothing like that. They are what they are. They got a 10-game season, and they get after it.
We're just glad to be part of it. If that's all, I'm going home.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, Coach. Coach, wish you the best of luck, man.
Thank you, man.
We're looking forward to seeing you, and I'd rather be lucky than good. So
I'd rather be good
luck,
and
brother.
lucky. Thank you.
Good luck, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
All right, that's Coach Reno Saccoccia here. The 5-1 Steubenville Big Red going to take on the 3-1 Lindsley Cadets at West Liberty University. Ohio Valley Sports Online will be there live, going on air about 6:45. That's our goal. So we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back with Andrew Conner from Indian Creek.
Fort Steuben Maintenance should be your first choice when it comes to any and all construction projects, whether it's commercial or residential. Make Fort Steuben Maintenance your first call. You can rely on them to be the experts when it comes to roofing, concrete, plumbing, carpentry, just about any job that needs done. Fort Steuben Maintenance, they're fully licensed and bonded, and will even give you a free estimate. Fort Steuben Maintenance. You want the number? 740-283-4890. Thanks, Fort Steuben Maintenance, for sponsoring Big Red head football coach Reno Saccoccia on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show.
Are you looking for a fun and exciting way to spend time with your friends and family? Look no further than Toronto Lanes. Our state-of-the-art bowling alley is the perfect place to bowl a few games, enjoy some delicious food, and make memories that will last a lifetime. The staff is always friendly and helpful, and the lanes are always in great condition. Plus, the food is amazing. Whether you're a seasoned bowler or just looking for a fun night out, Toronto Lanes has everything you need. We offer leagues for all ages and skill levels, as well as open bowling and cosmic bowling on the weekends. The atmosphere is fun and welcoming, and the prices are unbeatable. So, what are you waiting for? Grab your friends and head to Toronto Lanes today. Toronto Lanes, where the fun never stops.
A pioneer of casual dining, Bennigan's is internationally known for its unique neighborhood vibe and exceptional chef-driven food. Come to Bennigan's on University Boulevard to stir up a great memory. Come for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. and get $1 off draft and bottled beer and $1 off signature cocktails. Grab some bar bites too, only $5 from 9 p.m. to close. Hey, are you a soccer fan? Check out the schedule of English Premier League soccer games. Bennigan's even even has delivery service. And the number to call? 740-792-8080. You got a friend at Bennigan's.
Everhart Bove Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bove ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bove Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bove Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds.
Thanks, Everhart Bow Funeral Home, for sponsoring Indian Creek head coach Andrew Connor on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show.
Okay, we're back. Ohio Valley Sports Online live from Bennigan's. A little change up in the schedule. Coach Andrew Connor delayed a little bit. Coach Josh Frankie was here stuffing his face, so it was a good thing that we got to see him coach. I mean, like, I had to overrule everybody. This segment's being sponsored by Toronto Lanes. I had to overrule everybody, and we did the Toronto Edison game. I mean, it was my choice, man. What a game I a game I picked.
I'll give him a little bit of credit on that, but go ahead, Coach.
But Coach, I tell you something, man. You've been here week after week. You're 5-1. You showed a lot of confidence in your team throughout the week. At times, I thought you was a little bit crazy, but I'll tell you something, Coach. I mean, I feel bad for you because, I'm going to go out on the limb here. I think in reality, the only thing that stops you from Toronto from making a run is the injury.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about, I know you already had a lineman out, and now then you get Kinsey hurt, now Silverthorne. What's the update on him?
Yeah, so Silverthorne went down at the beginning of the second quarter last Friday. Obviously, another big-time college prospect for us, has an Akron offer. He's in talks with Virginia Tech and a couple other programs, but lose him Tuesday, and he suffered an injury. I don't think we're probably not going to get him back the rest of the year. He's probably going to have surgery. So it's just, listen, man, next man up, right? I mean, that's what we've been saying all year.
But then again, Stevie made a comment. He said, like during the game, I got so much to talk about. I don't know if I'm going to give Stevie anything to say here. but like Stevie made a comment during the game. He was going, you know how big this is, Raymond, for a Division 7 team to be looking across the sideline at a Division 5 team with 65 kids.
Sure.
And you're saying that, it was such an exciting game. I mean, you talk about turnovers and big plays. I told Steve during the game, you guys took advantage of those turnovers. You scored Dickinson and Boucher. Andrew. Andrew, my man. Sit down and have a sandwich, man.
That's okay, I got it. You got this, go ahead. You got it.
No, I want to make sure you stay here. We didn't think you was coming.
I missed. That's my fault. That's all right. Go ahead.
Okay, we got Coach Bowser's going to go out. We're going to talk to him. We're going to bring Andrew in with
Sure,
him.
yeah, go ahead.
You want to stay, Andrew?
Come on.
Let's get him. No. Josh, you mind?
No,
Josh?
I don't care one bit.
Do that. Yeah, we'll get back to
Andrew,
Coach
come on
Bowser.
in.
Absolutely, Coach. Thanks a lot. Danny's going to pay for your meal, man. Send that check over here, Coach. Andrew Connor, my man, coming in here. Son of Marty Connor. How's your parents, Andrew?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. Coach, how's your daughter, man? She had an accident last week. Huh?
Yeah, she did. She's banged up, but she's a fighter like her mom. She's not as soft as her dad, so she's doing well.
That's what David said.
Yeah, well, he's right, too.
Your favorite son.
It is. I didn't know I was coming down to get my brains beaten by you guys. Must be sitting on some stuff here, man.
Andrew Connor, Everhard Bow Funeral Home. This section is sponsored by Andrew. You lose to Bel Air. I was just saying before you come, I appreciate the fact that, you've had tough times the last couple years. You've been a perfect gentleman, with us being here and stuff like that. And I really appreciate that. Tells me a lot about how you were raised by your parents.
Well, I have two great parents. I appreciate that very much.
So, Coach, another tough week. It seemed that, let's be honest, it was Mac Pettigrew's night. He had a big night for Bel Air. You knew that going in. Everybody's had a difficult time stopping him, however. But your offense struggled to get things going last week. And that really seemed to keep their offense off the field, which didn't help you at all trying to stop that guy. Talk a little bit about, just again, it's been a situation all year long, the consistency of things right now with your team.
Yeah, I think if you sat down and you just said to yourself, what are you trying to do and what are you able to do? Mm-hmm. That's where the disconnect is for us right now. We've got, the kids are working hard at practice. That's a check mark. I mean,
right.
They practice hard, and I love them for it. I think the coaching staff has done everything they can to try to put a game plan together that is something we can execute. And again, you can draw up all the things you want to draw, but it's got to be something you could take from there to give to your kids so they can run it over here.
Right.
A lot of people think, well, you do A, B, and C. Why don't you do A, B, and C? Well, maybe we can do B, and maybe we could do a little bit of A, but we can't do C. And so you can say, well, I saw this, and yeah, maybe it would work if it's the 49ers doing it, but it's not the 49ers that are doing it. And so, yeah, I think we're close on a lot of aspects of what we're trying to do. The consistency thing has been something that has haunted us, for the last couple of years. It just, we have a good play, and then we have a bad play. And the problem with us right now is we can't make up. A lot of teams can make up for the bad play.
Right.
We're just not able right now, for a plethora of reasons, not to be able to make that up. And so when we have a bad play on defense, it really hinders us.
Right.
We have a bad play on offense, it really hinders us. And other teams, for whatever the reason is at this point, they're able to overcome those things. We have a hard time overcoming some of our own self-inflicted wounds. Sometimes it's just the other team makes a better play on a play than we can make right now.
Right.
Again, it has nothing to do with effort, doesn't have to do with game planning. It just right now sometimes it's just not in the cards for us. Again, not lack of effort or lack of preparation. We're just not getting it done. And so, for us against players, same thing. We get a good stop early. They punt. We don't fill the punt. Punt rolls down. So now we pin ourselves, and now we're in trouble because now you're starting with your offense at the 3 or 4 yard line. Okay, we don't get what we want. I mean, so we have to punt. And then we have a bad punt, and now all of a sudden you could start to feel, and I think the kids can start to feel, uh-oh. And until we can get over the uh-oh, then we're going to have issues, and that's where we're at right now. We're struggling through that.
And that was one of the points I wanted to bring up or try to get to was it's easy for people looking in from the outside to say those things. Well, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? But as you said, you guys are with those kids every day. You know the personnel you have. You know what they can and can't do, so to speak. And it's just I feel for you. I've been there, and it's a tough thing. And like you said, your kids are giving you everything they got, it's just that's the point I wanted to bring up and make sure that people listening in, like being a coach myself and being a very good friend of yours, it's not a lack of effort on the kid's part, and it's not like an effort on the coach's part. It's just things need to come together, and you need to catch a break at this point.
And I've told everybody, I don't care if people blame me. I mean, that's fine. I'm the head football coach. I mean, I've done it for 21 years, and we're not winning, and so it is my fault. I would rather them blame me then blame the kids. Those kids are still 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. They're doing it for love of game. They're not getting anything out of it. They're trying their hardest. At no point have I said, to the kids after a game, it's lack of effort. So, I don't want my coaches to get blamed. They're trying their best. So here's the thing. I don't care if people do it to me. I just don't want it to get to a point where, we start, taking it at the kids, or, one group is saying it's this group, or it's the offense's fault, but it's the defense or whatever. I mean, I'm still in charge, and it's still my football program, and I'm still proud of the fact that we still understand the importance of wearing that Indian Creek jersey, that Indian Creek helmet. Our kids still understand that. They still understand, they are the guardians of that right now, and we have a proud tradition, and those kids are trying their best to live up to it. They are. It just seems like right now we're missing here or there. It's almost like you have a car, the car runs, but we just can't get it tuned the way we want. I mean, we have good moments and bad moments, and again, it could be a lot of reasons why. But again, I'm a big boy at the age of 53. I can take all that. I don't mind that as much as I just don't want to see it come to where people start to nitpick on those kids. I mean, we have made mistakes, but again, it's not for their lack of effort. I told those kids after the game on Friday, I asked them to go out and play hard in the second half. They did. Right. They played hard. We only we were battling with them at the end, and my thing is, I love those guys, and so I'll do anything in the world for them. I think they'll do the same back, and eventually, I know people say, I live in a fantasy world, or I live with those rosy glasses on, and they're not. They're just plain old glasses. But I still believe in them, and they still believe in me, and we're going to keep battling, and we're going to see what happens, week by week. And our intention is to get on a bus, head to Caddis, go to Wagner Field, win a football game, and that's what we're practicing to do, and that's what we plan on doing. And until we get done with a season, our goal every Friday night is to win a football game.
Right. Well, I think, you're in a situation, Coach, and you have been, and you touched on all of them, that you're battling, you got wars on several fronts. Number one, you got your opponent. Number two, you got your kids and your coaches who you want to stay tuned in with, and keep them focused. And number three, you don't want your kids or your coaches buying into that poison that's out there. So, you got your hands full on that. But the people, Coach Joe Dunleavy, my man, he speaks very highly of you and your effort. So I know the administration's behind you and what you're trying to do. But when you do your self-scout, Coach, when you do your self-scout and you look at your team, what's the biggest issue that you feel you got to overcome? Is it mentally or is it physically?
I think sometimes, it is a physical part. Sometimes we are, losing that at the line of scrimmage battle. But I think every team goes through that. I don't think you could look at any team and watch them on film, and I could point to where on play 3 and play 9 and play 11, they've gotten outdone at the line of scrimmage. Our problem is we're not able to overcome those mistakes. That's what's hurting us a little bit there. When it comes to our mental part, I think what happens is just like any football any team. You could take whatever team you want in high school. Right now, it's been a struggle for us. When you're not winning, it doesn't really matter what your reason is for not winning. You can give me any reason you want, put it down, but you're still not winning. And winning fixes problems. It's as simple as you get. Any coach will tell, you both were coaches and both successful at it. When you get the win, it just makes everything better. Everything gets better, and we need to get a W. That's the biggest thing right now. For us to win a football game at this point now, after we start off with the Win a Game Bridge, we just need something to make us feel good, something to reward our kids on what they're doing. It's sometimes it's not enough just to tell somebody, hey, you're working hard. You want something in return to your working hard. If it's a paycheck, if it's a bonus, in our case, it is to win a football game. Our bonus would be, after a game to go into a happy locker room, to have everybody jumping around and saying, hey, great job. It's tough. When you work so hard,
makes it all worthwhile.
It is. And right now, that's what we're in search of. And I like I said, again, I know people may not understand this, but we still practice as hard as you can practice as a football program can, even though we've gone through this. And that is a credit to those kids, their parents. Everybody is on the same page. I just don't want anybody to wither, because this is what happens. You need one person to say it's this person's fault or whatever, and it's not going to help. And that's why I say if they have to blame someone, just blame me. It's easier just to blame one person. Blame me. I'm fine with it. I just don't want to see anybody start to crack on how hard they work, because there's something about, even if things aren't going your way, if you still keep doing it. I told our kids, don't be the guy that quits, because that starts something that's way beyond football. All of a sudden you quit something, man, you end up being able to do it easier and easier, and that's what I don't want. I don't want that.
It's a time, I believe, in situations like this, I refer to it as, it's time to circle the wagons.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And the only one that's important are the people that are here in this locker room, on the field. There's a whole big world going on out there, but I think that's the big challenge, for you as a coach, is to circle the wagons and keep everybody positive, and then hopefully emphasize to the kids, don't be the weakest link. I mean, you ain't got, Bubba Smith at defensive end and things like that. You got what you got.
Boy,
you know what I mean?
Are you old, Bubba Smith?
Okay, I'm sorry.
I feel good now. I felt bad till I got here, but you just made me feel good.
He's a big Michigan State guy.
You just made me feel good. You go T.J. Watt, because I'd have been with the new guy. You went with me.
I'm old school.
I love this guy over here, man. That's why I came down.
Listen, you should hear some names he pulled out up in the box when we're doing games, man.
But Andrew, I think that's your challenge. I mean,
it's hard.
And the only satisfaction that you could get is here to come on here and tell and look in the camera and just say, hey, we're going hard. We're practicing hard. We got enthusiasm. We may have some physical challenges, but we're still going to be ready to play. We got to take, as coaches, small victories, man, in any way we can, especially in the need that you're in right now. I mean, that's how I feel about it and approaching it.
No, you're right. I mean, and it's small victories at this point. Like my thing is, just practicing hard. What we've gone through is a victory. I mean, not having kids not come to practice, not having kids, say I'm injured. You know what I mean? There's a lot of ways you could say I want out.
Absolutely.
Nobody's saying they want out, and that's what I'm saying. We're fighting, we're battling. Okay, and we're doing the best we can. And sometimes, at some point you feel like that's going to be enough. It's somewhere we're going to catch where we get a little break. We can't get anybody to fumble a ball for us. We can't get a bad snap on a punt. We need something, that would be a positive that we don't have to create. Sometimes if you're always trying to be the team that has to create it, it's hard. I mean, I've watched film of other games and think, why couldn't they have done that for us? Why couldn't they have snapped the ball overhead? Give us a little oomph. Maybe we could, feed off that and get going. We don't get that. You know what I mean? And again, I know that's not the thing you want to hope for in a game, but every once in a while it is nice.
Oh, you're hoping for anything.
When the other team gives you a little break, they help you. They throw a bad ball. They fumble the ball.
Right.
I mean, why is the bad news always got to be on your side? And that's where we're kind of at right now. The bad news seems to be falling with us all the time.
All right, we're here with Andrew Connor, sponsored by Everhart Bow Funeral Home. So second segment, Josh Frankie tried to jump in front of me, but Josh Frankie was ready to go. Let me get this done, get out of here. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back and talk about Harrison Central here.
Thanks, Everhart Bow Funeral Home, for sponsoring Indian Creek head coach Andrew Connor on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show.
Everhart Bow Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bow ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bow Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bow Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds.
All right, we're back here at Bennigan's High Valley Coaches Show, High Valley Sports Online, the Sports Authority. Our second segment here with Coach Andrew Connor from Indian Creek, sponsored by Everhart Bow Funeral Home. Harrison Central, we're going to go to Big Steve. Big Steve got it all down for us.
All right, so Harrison Central enters this week at 4-2. Their wins have come over Claymont 36-19, Buckeye Trail 26-14. Union Local 49-6, and East Liverpool 37-19. Their losses have come to Malvern 22-20, and last week they were dismantled by St. Clairsville 49-8. They're led by running back Michael Keto, quarterback Hayden Cassidy, and wide receiver Parker Hutton. It's going to be a big night for the Huskies. It's homecoming for them, if I'm correct on that. Talk a little bit about traveling out there and what they bring to the table with Coach Hayes.
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, I think Coach Hayes does a great job with his program. Okay, so that's thumbs up to him. And I think, it's a great environment. We've played, a lot of games out in Cadiz where, they've been one-score games, and I think it's a great rivalry between the two schools.
Another rivalry for
you.
It
is. And, I feel like, we have seen them play, and we've watched film, and, we feel like we put a good game plan together. But the one thing we have to stop, I think the thing that makes them go is they want to stretch you horizontally with their jet package and then kind of feed off of that. So we got to do a good job of setting the edge. I mean, if we can set the edge, kind of bottle that jet package in, that's a big plus for us. And then that would kind of get us to kind of, put our fortune on them running right at us. They do have skill. They have some speed. Cam McAfee was with us last year. He transferred back out. Harrison, he's kind of that guy that gets on the edge, and he's got a lot of speed. I think Cassidy, their quarterback, is probably one of the most underrated quarterbacks just because he's so fast. And they're going to put pressure on us. They're a fast, athletic team, but we feel like we have some things we're going to do a little differently defensively that they haven't seen us do that maybe will help us set that edge. And I think that's number one. If we could just set the edge and not let them get horizontal, that will do a big plus for us on the defensive side. And then tackle well, okay, and not give up big plays in our secondary. And I think we've done a lot of things this last week where we're going to change some things up, maybe not stay in quite the the defenses we've been running, maybe kind of cause a little confusion. And I think we got a good read, and I think our kids feel like we got a good game plan. They've been working hard to implement that. So I'm really excited where we're going to be at defensively when we head out there to see where we're going to go with this.
Sounds good.
Coach Harrison Central got a good football team, I think so. Another big challenge for you, but Stevie touched on it, and we've talked about it in the past. It doesn't seem like, you need to have any pep talks because you got challenges week after week, with local rivalries, man. I mean, I enjoy your schedule. I like your schedule. It reminds me of the olden days, man. I mean, when everybody played everybody.
It does, and I mean, like I said, with Harrison, there's a lot of tradition there, and we've had – I think a great rivalry between the two schools. I think it's an even rivalry. I think somebody told me it was like 8-8 or 8-7 or something like that. So that's a rivalry where you go back and forth. And, we've had a good run. They've had a good run. So I think, that's part of it. The fans will be out there. It's an easy game to get to for both schools. You're just talking about jumping on 22 and headed out that way. So I'd expect a big crowd. I think, it'll be good for our kids. I think that's one of the other things that helps with this is, nobody wants to be beat by their buddy. If you're playing somebody that nobody knows, well, it's different. But when you're playing your buddy, it's different. Those kids have, kind of talked all week. I think it's going to add to maybe our fuel. And we need, to get out early. I mean, that's one of the things. We're going to be on the road. It's tough when you play on the road. I mean, we need something good to happen. We need us to make something good happen. And, like I said, I've watched our kids practice the last 2 days. And I really feel like, we've implemented a good offensive game plan. I think Coach Hammock's done a good job, with putting a good offensive game plan together. I think that when you look at our defense with Coach Osmond and Coach Kemp, I think they've done a good job. The assistants have worked hard. Again, just walking around practice, I feel like it's all hands on deck. Everybody wants to do what they have to do to win. I feel like as long as we're doing that and we give our best effort, that's what I can ask for as a head football coach. I want to win, don't get me wrong. I mean, nobody on earth wants to lose a football game. And, I want to win as bad as anybody else on earth does. But I also want to make sure that our kids are, involved in this. They still feel part of this. They still understand they're representing Indian Creek and the tradition, and our coaches are doing the same thing. And I think that's a big plus for me too right now to walk around and see that. So I feel like we're all in. I feel good, and we're going to give it our best shot Friday night.
Coach, how much do you verbalize with your kids about a quick start, trying to make things happen early and things like that?
A lot. I mean, we tell them, we need a big play, and we talk about, what would be a big play, a strip sack, so we're bringing a guy on a blitz on third down. We tell them tackle high, get that strip sack, shorten the field for us. You could flip the field for us. That'd be great for us. Offensively, we always tell our guys, make sure you're making that block downfield because maybe a Zion 10-yard run could be a 50-yard run. That's going to do a lot for us. Don't make us have to go 14 plays. On defense, let's do something where we put the offense in a good situation. Even on special teams, we don't block a punt. We're going to go after a punt. Block the punt. Do something that brings some energy to us on the football field and maybe deflates them a little bit. You know, I mean, maybe it does the opposite to them. I mean, as much as we're going to be excited would be the same for maybe they start to think, hey, this isn't the same Indian Creek football team from the last couple of weeks. You know, give them something to think about as well. That's what we've been telling our kids. You know, for as many negative thoughts we may have had, let's put some positive ones in. And on the flip side, let's make them think, you know, this team has, you know, it's maturing. It's going to play hard. We got a 4-quarter game. And we told them, if you can keep winning those battles, get us to the second quarter, get us to halftime. You know, let's go into halftime and make some adjustments and see where it is. You know, let's see what happens when we shorten it down to 24 minutes. Those are the kind of things we've been stressing our kids. You're not going to win the game in the first quarter, but, man, you could go a long way in helping us get to what we want by the fourth quarter.
You find yourself, Coach, maybe coaching for that big play, like going for the block punt, maybe, you know, things like that, or running a reverse, or trying to coach yourself into, like, let's get a big play, or you still, like, let's stay our course and let's just do what we do best?
Yeah, I think for the most part you are who you are, and so I'm a pretty boring conservative guy, so that's what I've been coaching as. But I think every once in a while,
those two words fit you well, man.
Yeah, they do. Boring conservative. And cheap would be the third one. But what I'm trying, sometimes you do that, and I do it not because I want to feel like it's a me kind of gambling or being desperate. I think sometimes you want to show your kids I got your back, so you fake a punt because you tell them, hey, I feel like this not only is that we can
that was
do it.
my point.
Yeah.
That was my point.
You didn't want to just hear that I was conservative,
Yeah,
cheap,
right.
or boring.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I threw that out there just so everybody know that. But you know, that's what I'm saying. I think it does sometimes do that in a way because you want to try to show the kids you're here with them. You're trying to generate some enthusiasm and maybe get that big play. I mean, sometimes if you can't get one on your own, you got to make one happen.
Right.
We're going to try to make some happen this week.
I believe that. And I like that attitude because, you know, I don't think it's desperation. I think it's good coaching.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things to try to get something going.
Exactly.
You know, I told our kids sometimes you got to put your destiny in your own hands.
Right.
You can't always wait to see if something's going to happen. You got to sometimes make it happen. You blitz, you run a fake, you kick an onside kick. You're now taking it, on your own. You know, you fake a punt at your 10-yard line. You're trying to do something to, you know, show your kids you're with them.
Absolutely. That's, you know, I'm the old man here, so that's the old adage that I always grew up on was you make your own luck. You know what I mean? You make your own break. So, you know, I always tried to coach like that whenever I was down and out, like, all right, man, let's take a chance. You know what I mean? And let's do that effect. And I don't think that's desperation. I think that's part of coaching and just another aspect of it.
Correct.
Right? From being boring and conservative and cheap. All right, man.
What would you do without me coming
No,
on?
Andrew, Andrew, I told Stevie up in the box, I said, my man's been getting his brains beat in for 2 years, and he comes down here every week, a perfect gentleman. It's a credit to your parents. I mean that, and the way that you were raised. That's what I believe in. I really appreciate you coming down here.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Mike. Thank you.
All right, that's Andrew Conner. He's in and he's out. All right, wish you the best of luck, Andrew. Be pulling for you, brother. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Josh Frankie from Toronto. This is Ohio Valley Sports Online, live coaches show from Bennigan's. We'll be right back.
Everhart Bove Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bove ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bove Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bove Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgles.
Steve's doing.
Thanks, Everhart Bow Funeral Home, for sponsoring Indian Creek head coach Andrew Conner on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show.
Okay, we're back here for a second segment with Josh Frankie, sponsored by Toronto Lanes. Coach, 5-1, you get the big win over Edison. We talked about the injuries. We wish you well on that. Yep. You know, don't get no more.
That's the plan.
I mean, you avenged the loss. You know, last year's loss. Edison, they beat you up pretty good.
They did.
This time you come out. Man, your kids were ready to play. It was a great atmosphere. I'm glad I picked that game. Stevie wanted to do the Big Red game. I picked the Toronto Edison.
Listen, You
I
can't,
picked
you
the
can't
Toronto
believe
Edison
everything
game.
he says. You can't believe everything he says.
But Dickinson and Boucher, man, I'll tell you, they was impressive. I'll tell you that. You know, and I liked a couple of your play calling, man. I mean, my goodness gracious, you had a little tricker in there with that double pass to Marchbank, and you have run an end around. I mean, you pulled out all the stops, Coach. Got a big win. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, listen, it's that's one of those games. You know, it's a rivalry game. We knew it was going to be tight. I thought we were pretty evenly matched with them, and you know, those are the games where you got to have a couple things up your sleeve, and you know, and the kids get excited about that kind of stuff too. You know, and
Absolutely
makes my coaching staff nervous, but you know, like listen, that's how I am. I'm an aggressive play caller, and I think that's just my style. And I think there's been times in my career where I've tend to get conservative, and you know, just because you're just, it's a fragile situation, you don't want to lose a lead or something like that. And you know, I went into the game Friday night just saying, like, I don't care what the score is, we're not getting conservative. We're going to be aggressive the entire game. And
I like that point, Coach. I'm sorry. I love the point that you brought up there. I think we've all made that mistake.
Sure.
I think every coach in the world in a tight game has overcoached, and it felt like you just let it go, man. You just let it rip, you know, Friday night.
Well, listen, that's my style. That's who I am. That fits me, and honestly, that's what got us to the point of, you know, being 4-1 going into that game. That's what got us there. You know, so you can't change it. Just because, you know, you get a little anxious or a little nervous or, you know, a little afraid of losing a game. Like you got to do what got you there in the first place, and I think we did that Friday, and like you said, pulled out all the stops to try and get us the win.
Yeah, so, you know, Ray mentioned there it was another big night for Russ Dickinson. Okay, and your offense. Russ was 15 of 24 for 242 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very efficient night again. Your offense accumulated, I believe, it was 477 total yards. The story for me all night was Don Boucher, as I said.
Awesome.
5 catches, 114 yards, 18 carries, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was all over the field defensively and special teams.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to get down there and see you after the game. I gave you a hug and congratulated you and said, number 2's a ball player. He is a ball player. And your response was it was his night. And it absolutely was.
You know, listen, Dom is obviously an incredible athlete going to Central Michigan to play baseball. I think he's going to do awesome things there. But, you know, as I've mentioned before, like, there were football schools that were interested in Dom coming to play some football. I mean, he's that type of kid. Thursday, we were leaving practice, and he and I were kind of walking off together. I'd forgot my phone out and went and grabbed my phone, and we're walking off together, and I looked down and I said, dude, you haven't beaten these guys. He's like, we're going to tomorrow night. And that was kind of a foretelling of kind of where his mindset was. So it was in the fourth quarter. It was late, and, you know, I think it might have been like we tied, or it was right before, it was that final drive. Or was the drive like where we got all the way down to the 3 and we ended up fumbling and giving them a chance. But it's 2013 regardless, and we were about to get the ball back, and I looked at Dom. I said, "You're gonna win us this game." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Give me the ball." So we went to the wishbone a lot, and I mean, honestly, his little brother was opposite him in the wishbone.
Right.
We just kept flipping him, and Dom's like, "No." He's like, "You're not giving it to my brother. Give it to me. I'm winning us this game," and that's, you know. He was on. I mean, the nice thing about our offense is it's hard to focus in on one kid. So many kids can get involved. You know, Nolan Dickinson had 5 receptions the other night. So it's everybody can get involved. But, you know, depending on what the Friday night is, there's usually like one kid that's just like he's on his game that night. And for last Friday, it was Dom. You could just tell. And it was kind of like, you know, you got your coaches in the headset saying, hey, it's his night, feed him the ball. Like, he's the one that's having the game tonight. And, I think the players all understand that's kind of how our offense works. Because, listen, they're kids. They all want the football.
Right.
But you spread it around.
Right.
I mean, you spread it around. I mean, like, I got a couple comments here. Number one, when we got in there, I heard all that music coming out of your locker room, and I told Danny Vogel, I said, Toronto's going to get smashed. I mean, they ain't ready. They ain't ready to play, man. They got this crap. Danny goes, whatever happened to being quiet before the game?
Well, see, that ain't the way you roll. When Ray played, they had those phonographs. You know what I mean? So, like, now that music's much more accessible, Ray. I mean, come on. That's how things are now.
I mean, here's me and Stevie went back and forth. I mean, on players. I mean, first I want you to comment on that music. I mean, who played? Did your daughter play that? Schedule that music?
No, listen, it's not always. So when I first got to Toronto, listen, I have a very loud personality, and I've been accused of being a player's coach, and sometimes I think that can be perceived as a bad thing, but at the end of the day, football is meant to be fun. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Football is meant to be fun. It is a game. And that's what our kids want to do. That's what makes it fun for them. Listening to that music for the game to get them in the mode. And it has that kind of camaraderie that brings them together. It's something they rally behind. Trust me, I have coaches that hate the music and hate that big bump box we got. But, the way I see it is this is their team.
Yeah,
this is their team. And if that's – I'm not going to fight that battle. There's a much bigger battles for me
I understand.
To fight that battle. But you know what? What I've learned is, when I went in that locker room on Friday night to go talk to him after the game, I heard several of them saying, hey, Coach Frankie, we love you. We love you. And get choked up.
Sure, absolutely.
That's what this is. This is a family, and those kids know that I care about them. They care about me in return, and I think that's not possible if you are running your program as a strict disciplinarian and an authoritative figure. That's not how we run our program.
I go for that. I could buy all that.
Listen, and that's not everybody. That's my style,
right.
and that's how our program functions, and it works for us. And that's not going to work for everybody.
And you got to be you, and you got to be real. Right. Kids will see right through
Absolutely.
that. They see right through
Absolutely.
that. So, Coach, you jumped out. You took a 20-7 lead. Had complete control of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then in a short amount of time, okay, you're holding McClurg in check, Desson rushing attack in check. Henderson kind of gets on a roll, passing the ball.
He was impressive. He's
going to be good. He's going to be really good.
And the last 2 minutes or so probably turned into one of the wildest finishes I've seen. You talk about momentum swings, momentum shifts, back and forth. Edison drives 95 yards in less than a minute following a turnover to tie the game. Yep. You get the ball back, minute 26 left on the clock. Mm-hmm. Talk about that point in time, that last minute 26 as you go in for the win.
I'll get to that. Before we get to that, let's talk about the turnovers.
Okay.
And let's talk about the important, because, again, we stress this point every week.
I will say this. I said to Ray before the game, I said, everything is even. I don't know if you listened to the playback, but I said it's going to come down to blocking, tackling, and taking care of the football.
And listen, Coach. we addressed the team on Monday, and I said, let's before we put this one away and we move forward, let's talk about what we talked about. How did that game play out? Why did we win that game? Well, we won the turnover battle. If you look, they ran 3 offensive plays, had 2 turnovers, and that's what led us to have a 14-0 or a 13-0
I love that you took advantage of the turnover.
Yeah, and listen, and that's huge. Without those turnovers, the game probably could have went differently. Mm-hmm. How did Edison come back? Well, Russ Dickinson threw an interception in our own territory. They score off of that, and then Russ has a questionable fumble on our own 3-yard line, which they get, and they end up going down and scoring and tying the game.
Was that explained to you? Because
the officials,
it didn't look clear to us in the press box what happened. We thought he was down.
All of the officials told us was none of them saw it except for the official that was on their sideline. That's what was explained to me.
The woman.
So that was how it was explained to me. And, again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It made for a more exciting victory. But the only reason they were able to come back and tie that game 20-20 was because of turnovers. And that is how important turnovers are. That is why we place such a huge emphasis on turnovers, taking care of the football, Like, that is just such an important part of the equation. It can't be understated. So the last minute 26, first off, I think the very first thing I did was I looked at Russ Dickinson, and I could tell in his face, like, the kid, he's unfazed. I mean, a lot of kids in his situation right now, tying a game, a minute 26 left, I mean, they'd be wide-eyed in panic mode, and you don't see that out of him. He's just like,
he's like his grandpa, man, Glennie Dickinson. Glennie Dickinson was a hard-as-nails guy, man.
Radiates confidence, and the team feeds off of that. When you see the leader of your offense not phased, the team feeds off that. So I knew they were probably going to be playing some off coverage. It's a minute 26 left, so we're, hey, let's run the tunnel screen. And honestly, the play wasn't even on our call sheet. One of our coaches, Coach Albiol, throughout the week was like, hey, I think if we motion to our tunnel screen, it's going to be less likely to see. So we had done that a couple times, but this time what we did was we ran a motion guy, but we also had our tight end over there as an additional blocker to help spring Boucher. And listen, let's give a lot of credit to Russ Dickinson. Joey Simpson, who's arguably one of their best player, in my opinion. Right. Russ threw that ball, and, I mean, I'm surprised he got off the turf. I mean, he stood there and took a crushing hit. But he gets back up. Aiden Philby runs over to me, and he says, hey, listen, the corner over to our sideline, he's a backup. I think we can get him deep. He's like, go put Dom over here. Now, let's talk about that. That's a
beautiful situation, right. Just listening to that.
That is the game is on the line, and instead of saying, throw me the ball, he's saying, put Dom over here, because he knows Dom's having a night. He's like, put Dom over here, Dom can get him. And I looked him dead in the face, and I said, no, we're throwing it to you. And my logic behind that was like, listen, Dom was clearly having the night. Mason Marchbank gathers a whole lot of attention. The whole night they're yelling, watch 7, watch 7. So my train of thought was, let's put Marchbank and Dom on the same side. Let's draw all the attention over there, and let's come back to Philby, the guy that they are not, it's probably third on the list.
Right, I think he had one catch prior to that.
Right, no one's expecting him. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, he comes down, he high points the ball above the defender, comes down with it, and we
very casually too.
Yeah,
he was casual.
We made the collective decision to go for 2. No use risking getting another block. So that was just another setup play that we had. We had done our own kind of research on ourselves, and at any time when we had gone to 2, we had run Dom around the edge in the past 2 weeks. And I said, you know what, Dom, you're a baseball player. It doesn't got to be a beautiful throw.
You got to be able to throw it.
But I want you to take off and look like you're going to go around the edge again, and we're going to slip Philby out. And sure enough, Philby's wide open in the back of the end zone for the 2-point.
Very, very impressed with the effort, Coach. I mean, can't tell you enough. I mean, me and Stevie, going back and forth about the player of the game. Dickinson was a stud, I think. You spoke highly of him. He was cool under fire. He delivered. Boucher made all the plays in the world. You guys hit. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you who played the game for you, and I want you to tell me if you agree. And number 18. Who's that number 18?
Little fullback, Spencer
fullback
Board.
And
Spencer
defensive tackle.
Yeah.
That kid was tough, man.
He's a little pit bull. He's strong as an ox. He's by far the strongest kid on our football team.
Yeah,
they was
double teaming him on the line of scrimmage. He got the tough yards inside. I was
quick.
Impressed with him.
He causes you some problems on the defensive line because he's extremely fast. He played tailback for us up to this year when we end up sticking him at fullback, and then so you have trouble with him on the D line. But again, like I said, he's the strongest kid on our team. He's benching 315 right now. You're not going to be able to move him easy.
Right.
He's at low center of gravity. He's tough to get under his own pad level.
Yeah.
So
he was one of several guys, I think. I think
Caden Benton, number 77, he laid it all out on the line there. Left tackle, we ran behind him. That final drive, we ran behind him a lot. And that's why. Joey Simpson was to his sides, but we knew that Caden could handle him more so than anybody else on our line. And he's getting some Division I looks, and we're like, hey, If you're the ball player that these schools think you are, we're going to run behind you.
Right.
And
there you go.
He did it. He did.
I like it. Okay, a lot of excitement here. Talking to Josh Frankie. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back, talk about next week.
Are you looking for a fun and exciting way to spend time with your friends and family? Look no further than Toronto Lanes. Our state-of-the-art bowling alley is the perfect place to bowl a few games, enjoy some delicious food, and make memories that will last a lifetime. The staff is always friendly and helpful, and the lanes are always in great condition. Plus, the food is amazing. Whether you're a seasoned bowler or just looking for a fun night out, Toronto Lanes has everything you need. We offer leagues for all ages and skill levels, as well as open bowling and cosmic bowling on the weekends. The atmosphere is fun and welcoming, and the prices are unbeatable. So, what are you waiting for? Grab your friends and head to Toronto Lanes today. Toronto Lanes, where the fun never stops.
We're back here at Bennigan's High Valley Sports Online, bringing you our weekly coaches show for our high coaches going up on week 7. The 5-1 Toronto Red Knights. Coach, who you got this week? And
Buckeye Local.
So yeah,
Stevie's going to tell us about Buckeye Local. He's ready.
This week you travel to Buckeye Local. They're 1-5. Their lone win came against Brownsville, Pennsylvania, in week 4, 40-6. Their losses have been to Barnesville, 49-0, Union Local, 48-7, Shadyside, 26-0, and Monroe Central, 39-6, and Shenandoah last week, 44-33. With the exception of Shadyside, all of their losses have come against teams with winning records.
Right.
They've struggled this year, but they showed last week against Shenandoah, they showed a lot of fight in that game. They'll be hungry for a victory, so how do your guys get back up after such an emotional win this past week?
Yeah, it's their homecoming game too. So everybody wants to win their homecoming game. And listen, this has all the makings of a trap game, and we've told our kids that. Literally when we were in the locker room Friday night after beating Edison, that was one of the first things I said is like, hey, enjoy it tonight. And tomorrow it's got to go in the past because this is a trap game.
Right.
Like this is a game. Listen. They're a Division IV school in Ohio. They're much bigger than us. They're bigger in Edison. So they have good athletes. They have some speed. They have a quarterback that can run. They have, their tailback can run. They have a 6'4" wide receiver. And then they have a big line. Buckeye Local always has big guys up front.
Right.
So they're not a bad football team. If you go down there and you get caught sleeping, they can get you. They can and they will get you. And then I feel like they're getting better every week. Shenandoah is not a bad football team, and it was 44-33, and they gave them a fight. So
and that was out there at Shenandoah.
It
correct?
was.
Yeah.
So again, this is a game that makes me uncomfortable because if our kids don't show up prepared. Now we're minus a couple more guys, and it's like this could be one that could get out of hand if you go in there and you let them think that they have a chance.
Right.
If you go down there and you jump on them real fast, teams that are in the predicament that they're in usually once things start to go bad, they dip their head and realize that things are gonna can get out of hand and they're not going to be in it. But if you let them stick around, listen, 2 years ago we went down there. We were supposed to beat them that year. They scored on their first possession. They kicked it off. We didn't. It was like just a little pop-up kick, and one of our guys didn't jump on it, and they ended up getting it, and they scored again. And just like that, I think it was 13-0. And it was like we ended up losing that game, and we were in a fight for our life the rest of the game trying to come back. So,
right.
I get if something like that happens, you find yourself in a dogfight you don't want to be in.
Right.
Coach, wish you the best of luck, man.
Thank you,
Keep
man.
it going,
Yep.
man. Hey, don't get nobody hurt.
Yeah, we'll
don't forget that boom box.
Thanks, guys. I
All right,
appreciate
Coach.
it.
Thank you.
See you guys.
All right, that's Josh Frankie from the 5-1 Toronto Red Knights football team coming off a big win at Edison, hosting Buckeye Local. Okay, we're going to be right back with Coach Eric Meek at a big week coming up Live from Bennigan's, this is the High Valley Sports Online.
A pioneer of casual dining, Bennigan's is internationally known for its unique neighborhood vibe and exceptional chef-driven food. Come to Bennigan's on University Boulevard to stir up a great memory. Come for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. and get $1 off draft and bottled beer and $1 off signature cocktails. Grab some bar bites too, only $5 from 9 p.m. to close. Hey, are you a soccer fan? Check out the schedule of English Premier League soccer games. Bennigan's even has delivery service, and the number to call, 740-792-8080. You got a friend at Bennigan's.
High Valley Sports Online, Ray Saccoccia along with Stevie Daly and Dan Vogel. Joined here, sponsored by Bennigan's. We're live at Bennigan's. Coach Eric Meek of the 6-0 Crusaders going into uncharted waters for the Crusaders. Coach, kept the ball on the ground, man. You look like Abe Bryan calling them plays.
Yeah.
Man. You know, power football, beat Madonna, man. But you know what, Coach? I've been talking to you all the time about your offensive and defensive line. Very impressive again, man. Very impressive again. Just lining up and say, hey, here we are, here we come. Stop us.
I really felt overall it was our best game of the season. We wanted to be physical on both sides of the ball, which we were. We wanted to keep their skill in front of us, which we did. And to shut them out 20-0 and really control the game, you know, it kind of reminded me when I was a kid when my dad coached for Don Butchie at Cardinal Mooney. They'd run that stacked eye.
Oh, so you're well aware of that.
Yeah, well, a lot of that stuff, you know, is what I grew up on. And, you know, just – you know, it's a real archaic formation, but even during the timeouts and on the sidelines and at halftime, the kids were like, "Coach, let's just stay in it." So you know, when the kids don't want all that flash and flare, which
there you go.
You know, and they're like they got a lot of confidence. Now we understand we're not afraid to throw the ball. We're not afraid to spread it out. You know, against Monroe Central, in our scrimmage, we were able to throw effectively. We were able to throw effectively against Wellsville, against Strasburg. It's just lately, you know, our defense has played so well, and we've been able to run the football that, you know, why take a chance? You
know what, Coach? I'll tell you right now, when you're gonna throw the ball. Right. I mean, ain't nobody going to be expecting it.
Yeah.
So Alenta's going to get a good view of somebody.
Yeah.
And he's capable of throwing it. We've seen that. But, Coach, you're 6-0. Your defense holds them to what? 130 total yards. I mean, that night I thought it was we told Danny I didn't think it was 100 yards. But very, very impressed with the physicality of your team. You know, like you said, offensively and defensively, and Fallon got some big runs, busted a couple out for you.
Oh, yeah, and, you know, it's funny you said that about the 100 yards because I had the same thought when we got back for the fish fry after. I was handed the stat sheets, and I said, I bet you that when I look at this, they might have been under 100.
Yeah,
and they were at 130 because they just never got that big play that they've been doing pretty well all season. And, you know, but yes, so our offensive line, Cody Carver came back after an injury at center. Our right guard was Braden Rauch. Our right tackle was Peyton Rauch. The tight ends, for the most part, were Noah Huff and Cam Bradley. The left guard was Brendan Grimm, and the left tackle was Don Mascio. And those guys just did a tremendous job. And the defense was just, you know, our defense.
You're getting play from the freshman, too, Kostecki.
Yeah, and our defense is getting better and better and better. And not only our defensive front is very good.
I'm very impressed with it.
And like I've said, our secondary is not giving up big plays. And, you know, we just had a practice today, a 2-hour and 15-minute practice, and wow, did we have a good practice. And, you know, our kids were so focused. I give my assistant coaches, again, I got to, you know, Coach Seth White, he's always helping me get in there in their minds, and on game day especially. Sometimes it's good to let those assistant coaches do what they do best. And, he's able to keep him focused. Coach Dave Brown, Ted Kostecki's our defensive coordinator. And then you got Coach Gabe Erickson and John Serafini. So those guys do just a great job in the weight room, coaching their positions up, talking to the kids. A really, really close-knit group that knows how to push the kids but also pick them up when they need it.
Coach, you're 6-0. Only in the history of the school, probably a half dozen teams have been at 6-0. Does that put any added pressure on you guys, or does it motivate you?
Well, I send them a little thing in our group me, which is a media thing the whole team's on.
You're pretty cool, huh? Group
I learned that I didn't know what it was till about a year ago. But I send how many teams there are in the state and in the region and all that stuff. And it's kind of that thing that when you're having success in anything in life, you're expected. And you're blessed, and we are blessed, and we appreciate it, but we don't want to, we want to continue to get better and better and better. And like I keep telling them, it's still September. It's not even October yet. So, and we're healthy, which is a good thing. I mean, I've been saying since day one that we have to stay healthier. It could be a real disaster fast, and we are very healthy. And, like I said, I've been telling you guys this. It's really a great place to pull in and walk in there with our kids. Our kids are unbelievable kids to coach. They got great character, and they just are outstanding young men. That's a credit to their parents. The upbringing that they have given them is a credit to the school, the culture, and my assistant coaches, because it's just a fun group.
Now, Coach, getting back to the Madonna game a little bit, everybody always talks, different stats, and what stats are important during the course of a game, so on and so forth. But you accumulated 16 first downs. Your scoring drives came on 11 plays, 16 plays, and 8 plays. Defensively, you hold them to 130 yards. So time of possession, with that running game. A lot of people say time of possession doesn't matter. It kept Madonna's offense off the field, number one. Number two, playing against a roster that, is very low on numbers, had to wear them down physically as well.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And, you say about time of possession, anyone that says that, I don't agree with that.
Right.
Because, again, I mentioned Coach Butchie, who passed away in February, 91 years old, I believe. But, I grew up as a little ball boy when my dad coached there, and then when I was in high school, I'd go back to their games when they'd play on Saturday, when I'd play on Friday. And, I love those. The one drive was 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So you figure 12-minute quarters in high school, you're playing great defense, and you get 7 points and take 8 minutes off the clock.
Right.
That offense is off the field.
Right.
And, we have some good people down the road on our schedule, and we need to be able to do that, continue that. But, the 8-minute drive, that's I think that the longest drive in my coaching career that we scored on, I think, was 10 minutes at Wellsville one year. Wow. I was real happy about that.
Yeah. Coach, I want to, before we go to break and come back and talk about next week's opponent or this upcoming week's opponent, you're 6-0. Not too many teams at Central have been 6-0 at this time. You got a big week coming up. Tomorrow night, I wanted to mention, you got the Hall of Fame dinner with some great inductees, a great class, I believe, going in. That's extra for Central and their family tomorrow night. I know you got Chin Achebe, well accomplished at Central. You got Nicky Tuttle. You got David Smith, who I played with, who was as good as anybody playing defensive tackle. You got Ginny Pettis, all-time leading scorer. Then you got two great teams going in. Big week for Central. Big week for Catholic Central.
And we were at that last year. I was at that, and it was just a great a great night, and I'm looking forward to seeing so many outstanding people tomorrow night about this time. And it's going to be a fun evening. And then, as you had mentioned, there's other activities. There's activities Saturday. We'll be at the homecoming mass, the whole team, and hopefully we're celebrating at the fish fry after the game. But so it's a big weekend, and a lot of really special people will be involved with this weekend.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, you got a 6-0 team, which is excitement. You got a big weekend coming up. You got everybody coming in with the reunions and things to that effect. I expect an upbeat crowd, and it's a good week for Central and its team.
Yeah, absolutely. And and if the kids play like they practice tonight, and hopefully they'll practice again like that tomorrow night, I think it's going to be a good showing on the field because they really were locked in and really had a great practice today. And tomorrow we go more team, so we kind of turn it up a little bit tomorrow, the intensity.
All right, that's great. It's Coach Eric Meek here from Bennigan's, Ohio Valley Sports Online, bringing you the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show live from Bennigan's. We'll be right back to talk about this week's opponent.
A pioneer of casual dining, Bennigan's is internationally known for its unique neighborhood vibe and exceptional chef-driven food. Come to Bennigan's on University Boulevard to stir up a great memory. Come for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. and get $1 off draft and bottled beer and $1 off signature cocktails. Grab some bar bites, too. Only $5 from 9 p.m. to close. Hey, are you a soccer fan? Check out the schedule of English Premier League soccer games. Bennigan's even has delivery service, and the number to call 740-792-8080. You got a friend at Bennigan's.
We're back here, Ohio Valley Sports Online, the Sports Authority. This week's opponent, Steve.
So this week you're home versus Carrick out of PA. They're not in the Pittsburgh City League. They play teams in the Pittsburgh City League, but they're an independent team out of Pittsburgh. They're 0-5. They've played and lost to Carleton 46-6, University Prep 66-0, Uniontown 45-14, Brashear 52-34, and Brownsville last week 36-30 in overtime. The last 3 weeks, they have shown the ability to put up some points. Mm-hmm. Over the last 3 weeks, over that span, they're averaging 26 points per game. I had read a season preview about the teams in Pittsburgh, and a few of the Carrick players were mentioned on there. I know they're going to bring some athletes to the field Saturday night. What do you see out of this team?
The quarterback is a guy we need to focus on. He has a cannon. He can launch that ball downfield, and he can tuck it and go. He's a tremendous athlete. I think up front, if we're physical, I think we can win that battle, to be honest with you.
Right.
And, we were able to do that last year. But this quarterback he's the guy you got to stop. Mm-hmm. Very similar to the Fairport Harbor situation. So
okay. Size-wise, comparable to the
They're big, but, they have some size.
Yeah.
But I don't think their speed up front is nothing like the quarterback skill.
Right.
So
gotcha.
If we play fast and physical up front and finish our blocks and hold on to the football, I'm hoping we can move the ball.
Right.
Coach, kids ain't stupid. You're 6-0. You're the better team. You got a big week coming up. How you guard against any letdown?
No, we're on them from the time we get onto the practice field, and we're on them, and we're all coaches, and sometimes I don't know.
That's my fear. That's always was always my paranoia, was the fact that I always wanted to have that chip on my shoulder and be confident.
Yeah.
But then in this situation where you're on a roll, you're beating people up. You're a good football team. You've established that. Now you got all the hoopla with the pep rally, the bonfire, the Hall of Fame dinner. A lot of attention, spotlight on you this week. Homecoming coming in. paranoia always set into my mind, man. You know what I mean?
Well,
always made me nervous, and I always took it out on the kids. I was always angry at them.
I've always said this, sometimes the kids don't know how to read me as a head coach, which is good. They don't know when I'm acting and when I'm really mad and when I'm pulling their chain a little bit. But we really do. I'm such a nice guy here on the air.
That's right. You're a beautiful person.
But Raymond, I get pretty fiery at practice and on game night. And our kids, we got a great rapport with them. But our kids know that, if they're not going to break the huddle in practice and run up to the ball, we're going to get on them. And, if they're not going to hustle when we're in skeleton, and it could be a scout player, or we're going to get on them. And that's just, they want that. And, that's why they're 6-0, because they want that. They want that type of coaching. So, but it sure is fun when you do have success.
Absolutely.
After the game and to have a lot of fun with the kids but that's how you guard against that. You keep them on their toes and let them know, listen, I had a team that was 6-0 one time, and we got beaten a controversial game and ended up winning the next 8. And guess what? If we would have won that game, we may not have won the next 8. And because this game is so psychological. So you just got to be on them at all times, and you got to know when to. You try to press the right buttons, and that's what you try to do. And I honestly do not think we'll have a letdown. That's my prediction. Hope I'm right.
Me too. Good luck to you, Coach.
Thanks,
See you tomorrow night.
Good luck to
Thank you.
Coach Eric Meek of the 6-0 Catholic Central High School Crusaders. Live from Bennigan's. We'll be right back with Coach Mike Collopy of the Edison Wildcats.
Come and visit the Friendly Tavern on 213. Our little neighborhood bar is the perfect place to unwind and have a good time with friends and family. Here are some reasons why you should drop by. Fun and friendly staff. Our staff is always ready to welcome you with a smile and make sure you have a great time. Reasonable prices. We offer great food and drinks at prices that won't break the bank. Great food. Our commitment to using only fresh and high-quality ingredients means that every dish we serve is delicious and satisfying. Community feel. The Friendly Tavern is a place where everyone knows everyone. Come and be a part of our friendly community. Highly recommended by our customers, the Friendly Tavern is the perfect spot for a night out or a quick drink after work. Don't miss out on the fun. Drop by today.
You're listening to Ohio Valley Sports Online, the Sports Authority, bringing you the best in local sports, high school as well as college. Subscribe to us on our YouTube page. Check us out on Facebook as well.
Come and visit the Friendly Tavern on 213. Our little neighborhood bar is the perfect place to unwind and have a good time with friends and family. Here are some reasons why you should drop by. Fun and friendly staff. Our staff is always ready to welcome you with a smile and make sure you have a great time. Reasonable prices. We offer great food and drinks at prices that won't break the bank. Great food. Our commitment to using only fresh and high-quality ingredients means that every dish we serve is delicious and satisfying. Community feel. The Friendly Tavern is a place where everyone knows everyone. Come and be a part of our friendly community. Highly recommended by our customers, the Friendly Tavern is the perfect spot for a night out or a quick drink after work. Don't miss out on the fun. Drop by today.
All right, we're back here at Bennigan's, the Ohio Valley Sports Online, the Sports Authority. Coach Mike Collopy of the Edison Wildcats. Coach, first time in 2 years we get to talk to you after a loss.
Yes.
How's things out in Richmond, brother?
Good. Just reviewing everything. We played.
You look like me going into a math. You look like me going into a math class, man.
I was always
with
told.
the answers on my head.
No, this is from practice. These coaches make fun of me. No, I mean I thought obviously we didn't do enough to win, but I was really proud of our kids and how they handled adversity, specifically in the fourth quarter. It was just one of those games where. We were behind, and we could have packed it in mentally and physically, different points during the fourth quarter. We had like a 95-yard drive, to get us back into the game, to tie it up. And then, prior to that, we had no timeouts left. And, basically we had to force a fumble. So I'm really proud of the kids' effort. And, when you're down like that, we had guys on the field that were just spilling everything they had. I think it showed their character.
Me and Steve talked about it. We said it during the game, and the way Toronto responded, and Coach Frankie said it during his segment that they don't take advantage of them turnovers. They don't win the game. What happened on them turnovers? Was it just a bad exchange?
Yes, there was a bad exchange. There was, we just didn't take care of the football. Turnovers are a part of the game. We've had some this year.
But you had two in a row, like two plays in a row.
Yeah, we had three plays in the first quarter.
Right. Really shot yourself in the foot on that. And we were blocked out because the quarterback had his back to us. So I didn't see whether there was contact or whether it was just a bad exchange.
No, it was just a bad exchange. And, the moral of the story was, like I said, we fought, like heck throughout the game. And I thought we responded the way we needed to respond. I was very proud of all of our guys, specifically at the end of the game. At the end of the game, listen, football, you're not going to hear anything from me about who's playing, who's not playing. Football is a physical game, and things happen. And we had guys that were in positions at the end of the game. They weren't normally in positions, throughout the season. But we had 11 guys on both sides of the ball that were just scratching and clawing,
right.
To try to get us to try to get us back on top. And I was, extremely proud of them. I thought, to this point, we have responded well. As some of the coaches, we talked Saturday, and winning is something that's really hard to do. And when you've been blessed with good players and the last couple of years, and we've had we've been on the right end a lot of times, and I'm not saying that we took anything for granted, but sometimes something like this is a wake up to all of us of how hard winning is.
Absolutely. Yeah, and not to reiterate and go over again, but as we said, a little bit different for you this week. Toronto did a good job. Give them credit of holding your run game in check. They're up 20-7, so you turn to the passing game. Okay, led by J.D. Henderson. He ended up with 280 yards through the air, 2 scores. We talked about the 95-yard score. That drive came after you forced the turnover. It took less than a minute, as you said. No timeouts left. You were able to tie the game at 20. And then even after Toronto scores, your team still comes back and puts themselves in position where they have 2 shots at it with time running out to possibly tie it up again and force overtime. I was so impressed with, seeing Henderson again this week, knowing that he's only a sophomore, to keep that poise in that position of the game in a huge game. Credit to Coach Pirro. I thought, the job he did on those 2 drives, knowing that you had no timeouts left, tremendous. And then just your kids as a group, as a whole, fighting to the very end. I just think says a lot about them as individuals. And I think moving forward, it's going to pay dividends for you for the rest of the season. I really do.
Hopefully. The thing about adversity, and I'm not saying anything that hasn't, people that have paid attention, we really haven't faced a whole lot of adversity this year. So being in that situation, we're hoping that, it doesn't signal and it doesn't mean that, it's gonna, the next time it happens, it's going to work out. But, kind of being in an uncomfortable situation, being in that situation, hopefully being comfortable and knowing, there's 48 minutes of football for a reason. And as I told our kids, they fought tooth and nail until that last second went off the clock.
Right. Well, I'm sorry, Stevie. Go ahead.
How have they responded this week? I mean, how's things gone when you get them back in?
Right.
When you get them back in, how have they responded?
I would say that, first off, I think our kids have handled everything that's happened very well. I think they've handled it like young men. I think we've been focused, which, from week to week, you always worry about where the focus is going to be, and especially, coming off a loss, you're worried about, thinking about what happened in the past. But, and I told them after the game, we told them, it's supposed to hurt when you give everything you got, starting back in January, and you come out on the wrong end, that's normal. But once we met on Saturday, I told them, you got Sunday, and then we come in Monday, and it's a new week. It doesn't matter what happened the previous week. That's kind of been our theme, since we've been there. It doesn't matter what happened the following week. You get no credit for a great performance. You get no credit for a win. You don't get anything. You're not starting behind the following week with a loss. The only thing we can control is our outlook, our approach, and our level of focus in our preparation this week. I think our attention to detail has been better. Not that it's been bad, but I think it kind of sharpened our focus.
Absolutely.
I've been really happy with that.
I like that. I like that thought, because sometimes you got to be out front to get kicked in the butt, So my attitude is, it was a great game. I love the way, you guys responded to adversity at the end, but we saw a kid grow up that night in Henderson. Being a sophomore, he threw the ball so well. Like when you look forward, you ain't got no time to look forward now, but your program is going to be, your football team is going to be in good hands with Henderson under center for, the rest of this season and the next 2 years, because that kid can play. He ran the ball more than I thought he would, but man, could he throw the ball.
I was proud of JD. We were all proud of JD. We are proud of a lot of guys. Our offensive line, their pass pro was really good down the line. We have, some newer guys, so, we're proud of their effort. Trevor Eisenhagel stepped up. And,
yes, he did.
And I told him.
Probably had 7 catches, I think.
I think it was like 8 or something. And the thing that we saw, everybody in offense, how it is, Coach. Offense, sometimes it's not about, you want a team concept, but you also realize that competitors want the ball in their hands.
Yep. Right.
But sometimes situations dictate that you have to do something different than maybe what that competitor wants. Obviously, Talon McClurg, our running backs, they want to carry the ball. Our receivers, want to catch the ball. But the thing that we saw, and hopefully this is something that we can build off of, we saw a team that was willing to do whatever it took to get ourselves back in the game. Right. Trevor stepped up. We had Andrew Kirkman come in. He stepped up. Skylar Willoughby came in. He stepped up. We had Chase Freeman stepping up. Cole Pittman, and I say this, we have a couple kids. There's 2 in mind, Dawson Jones and Cole Pittman, that are the ultimate team players. That if I told them tomorrow, Dawson, listen, we feel that you're going to help us out this week, on the outside as an end. He'd say, Coach, whatever you want me to do. Cole Pittman's the same way. Cole Pittman's played tight end. He's played receiver. He came in as a quarterback. He played secondary his freshman year. Last year we played them both. He's moved all around. And we had a bunch of guys on that field in that fourth quarter that they were selling it out, and it wasn't about any one individual. It was about the team. And hopefully, like I said, we can build off of that.
Well, unfortunately, for us and our teams, a loss helps you. You know what I mean? It helps you, like you say, refocus and get bared down. And it's not the end of the world for your squad. You're still in good position moving forward. Everybody would like to be 5-1 at this time. So we're going to talk about your upcoming opponent here. We'll take a quick break.
Come and visit the Friendly Tavern on 213. our little neighborhood bar is the perfect place to unwind and have a good time with friends and family. Here are some reasons why you should drop by. Fun and friendly staff. Our staff is always ready to welcome you with a smile and make sure you have a great time. Reasonable prices. We offer great food and drinks at prices that won't break the bank. Great food. Our commitment to using only fresh and high-quality ingredients means that every dish we serve is delicious and satisfying. Community feel. The Friendly Tavern is a place where everyone knows everyone. Come and be a part of our friendly community. Highly recommended by our customers, the Friendly Tavern is the perfect spot for a night out or a quick drink after work. Don't miss out on the fun. Drop by today.
We're back here at Bennigan's, the High Valley Sports Online, the Sports Authority. Ray Saccoccia, Stevie Daly, Danny Vogel, and Coach Mike Collopy of the Edison Wildcats. Stevie, who's he got this week? Tell us about him.
This week, Wildcats are on the road at East Liverpool, who's 4-2. Their wins have come against Minerva, 50-0, Indian Creek, 27-7, Salem, 28-0, and Cambridge last week in a shootout, 62-54. Their losses have been to Beaver Local, 55-13, and Harrison Central, 37-19. So their wins have come against teams that are combined 1-23 at this point. Their losses are to teams that are combined 8-4. They average 33.2 points per game. They give up an average of 25.5 points per game. They're coached by Paul Cusick, a longtime coach at Columbiana Crestview. Ran a great program there and has turned the Potters around very, very quickly in his first season. They're led by quarterback Gavin Wright and running back Jamin Haney. Your thoughts?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind, I mean, I didn't dig deep into their opponents and all that other stuff, but you know, that's
what Stevie does.
That's what they pay me the big bucks to do.
They are a big play team. They're a big play team on offense. They have a special teams unit that, you know, they returned 3 kickoffs for touchdowns last week.
Wow.
They have a dangerous return game. On the defense, they've created turnovers. They've had a lot of not a lot, but they've had a lot of defensive touchdowns, scoop and scores, pick sixes. Like I said, and offensively, Gavin Wright is a very, very dangerous quarterback. You know, he runs their offense very effectively. He's a run and pass threat. They have a tight end that's about 6'3", 6'4", Deshaun Kirby, who is dynamic. I mean, they move him around. You know, sometimes he's in the slot, sometimes he's out at an X position, and other times he's a tight end. They've had him in the backfield. They move him around. He's a big, strong kid. You know, the one player that I feel is their heart and soul, and that is Trent Davis, who's their inside linebacker. He is an old school football player that probably could have played in any era. He is downhill as a linebacker. You know, he's their emotional leader. I feel like I said, on the offensive special teams, very explosive, and defensively they're very aggressive. You know, you mentioned, you know, Paul Cusick. You know, he ran an outstanding program at Crestview. You know, he's, you know, probably won a lot more games than most coaches. He's done an outstanding job. Coach Ramsey is running their defense. I think their defense, you know, kind of has his stamp on it. They're very aggressive. They get to the football. And, you know, we have our work cut out for us this week. So, you know, we need to make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's off.
Right.
Well, I like it, Coach, especially the fact that, you know, your kids have, like, refocused and retuned themselves for the run, for the final end of the season, into the playoffs. Want to wish you well, man, and
thank you.
Bounce back with a win, Coach.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
for
Coach.
coming.
Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Mike Collopy is sponsored by Friendly Tavern, head coach of the Edison Wildcats. It's a High Valley Sports Online. I want to remind everybody that we're going to have a volleyball game tomorrow. Big Red Central Volleyball. Jimmy D. Carver and Ashton Daly will be there Friday. Big Red at Lindsley, and Saturday in the Crusaders homecoming, hosting Carrick. For Danny Vogel and Steve Daly, it's Ray Saccoccia. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening and watching.